Alright everyone, this goes hand in hand a little bit, not completely, but a little bit with the booklets that I'm working on right now. So the Occult, video 161, don't grow up or old, but do mature. And this is one of the secrets to my own success insofar as I have it. I refuse to grow up in the standard understood sense. I don't want to be serious. I don't want to be mature in the way that a lot of people envision it, which is basically be boring, fall into line, make peace with the establishment, all this bull crap. And that's literally what it is. It's bull crap. You can be successful. You can make a lot of money. Garner, a reputation, become more well-known. You don't have to mature to do that. You don't need a piece of paper from a college, by the way, to do your work. It's like I don't have a piece of paper from some college saying, oh yeah, BA in English. Well, I still write and edit for a living and do just fine doing that. I don't have a bachelor's degree in public communication or debate or anything. But I do fine doing this. I don't have a degree in the occult or in religious studies or anything. I studied some of it academically. But I don't have a piece of paper proclaiming me to have studied it academically. And it doesn't matter. It literally means nothing. It's nothing more than a springboard. Public education is a springboard. Employers and things of that nature can just be springboards. If you're willing to take the time to not worry about being so serious with your life and instead work on, well, how can I improve myself for my own better? It's people, they make a terrible mistake. They go into a field that they think will be lucrative, that they think is rising in demand. They literally teach people when they're going into the college admissions process. They have like sheets and sheets of like tests and things like that you can fill out to determine, college placement. And sometimes what you are most skilled at or think that you are most interested in situationally is not actually where you will thrive. You got to think before you get into things, and sometimes you get trapped in them. Like somebody, they get into a job and they start spending more because they have money coming in. And then they realize, well, I can never quit my job because I'm spending, every cent that I make basically maintaining my lifestyle. Then they get a little bit more money, it takes some pressure off, and then they start spending more. They get completely trapped. This is how dudes get like midlife crises, and they buy like the sports car, and they go into debt, and they go snort cocaine, and then they run into a tree and die or something. This is what happens with like, the bored housewives club. Like they get into a shitty marriage because they're like, oh well, I'm gonna marry this dude because I don't really feel love, but I want to be pragmatic about things and fuck the whole love thing. And then they end up tipping back the bottle and cheating or something. This is what happens all the time in the world. Why do you think the divorce rate's so high? Why do you think suicide rate's so high? People are miserable. I don't pretend, by the way. I'll say this as an aside. Not everyone is a rebel. A lot of people love to conform. They only feel comfortable if they are being told what to do. For you, you could basically ignore the advice that I'm giving here because you're not going to be able to appreciate it. If you tried to be, immature in a constructive way, in a more reasonable way, I guess, a more moderated way, you'd be miserable. You'd be miserable because it's anathema to you. It may be truly at your center what you want, but it'd be difficult for you to actually get there. It's probably too much effort. Don't even bother. Just go conform. It's honestly speaking, you'll probably do better if you do just follow others' advice and commands. I'm being fully honest with you. Not everyone can pull it off. For those of you, though, that you're always questioning things, you're like, oh, I should take this job. I don't know. I don't really like it. It pays okay. You're about to step into a trap, probably. You may have no other choice. You may be in a situation where there's no outmaneuvering it, okay? So be it. Be cautious and try to keep things malleable when possible. That's another piece of thing within my life that I've found useful. Try to keep things fluid and malleable. Don't let them become static. Don't let yourself get locked into a path unless you are fully certain that you want to be on it. Don't do that because it's a trap. What you think is a path to your destination, you end up running off down into the brambles and getting stuck. You're screwed. There's not a whole lot you can do to get out of it sometimes. Being mature has almost never helped me in my life. If I was mature, I would have never, for instance, experimented with psychotropics. Never would have overdosed. That would have been nice. But that's the only thing that saved me from the workaday sort of thing. I'd be making half what I'm making now. I'd be a miserable 9-to-5er. Miserable, you know, you can be in a 9-to-5 and not be miserable. I'm not saying that. Some people are happy with their jobs, generally speaking, at least for the most part. And that's just fine. I couldn't do that, though. I couldn't get up, you know, that early in the morning and, you know, slog along. Even if I was working in a lab, it'd be kind of cool. Maybe I could go look at ants and do experiments on them or something. Okay, that sounds fine. But I wouldn't be fully independent, and I need that independence in order to have my own spiritual and personal development. I also know that I can make more money doing that than I could in a lab or something with a boss somewhere. They might fire me because I wore the wrong clothes. I couldn't get used to it. I'd never feel comfortable. I'd be constantly stressed out. It just wouldn't work. For some people it does. For some others it doesn't. But I never derived any benefit from all the mature things I did when I went to college. Being mature. Oh, I'm going to go to college. I'm going to go get me an edumacation. What did I get out of it? I got a springboard into some of the occult literature. Okay, that was very helpful. I paid tens of thousands of dollars for that and didn't end up graduating anyway because I just couldn't fucking deal with it. I'm like, why am I learning all this stuff? There's all this other interesting material I could be learning with no course offering on it like anywhere I can see. Why am I even seeking this piece of paper? What the fuck does it mean? Is this piece of paper gonna wrap me up and keep me safe when I die? It's not gonna happen. Why the hell would I want to be mature on that token? You're just stealing my money. Or, okay, taking the money. You're not really stealing it, we promise. The cost of college hasn't risen because of government interventionism. It used to be affordable, but now it's not. This was magic, the way it happened. Yeah, there's a reason that they don't teach critical thinking in college. Because everyone would drop out probably if they did. What about trying to get a regular job? Oh, you mean get the circle jerk from employers? Where I'm competing against people with because of the recession, I'm competing against people with a master's degree or a PhD or 10 years experience for a crappy position? Yeah, sorry, I'm not willing to pound the pavement. You do realize that like died off in the boomer era? Maybe into like early Gen X it worked. Doesn't work anymore. No, it just doesn't. But I can build up my own skills and do my own thing. And I know I can succeed at it. And I used to believe that when I was like a kid. When I was less mature. Said, well, yeah, I can do all sorts of cool things. Then I got into that trap. I got into that trapped mentality where I thought, well, no, everyone is telling me all the time, so it must be true. I have to go to college. I have to get a 9-to-5. I have to work for the next 35, 40 years, and then I have to retire. It's just the way the things work. But then, additional to my OD, I looked around and I realized, man, people seem so fucking miserable. Most people, unless they're still in high school or younger, they seem miserable to me, a lot of these people. A handful of them make it. Most everyone else, you know, when they talk about their job, what do they mention? The negative aspects of it. They don't say, oh yeah, I had a great day today. We're working on this new project. It's so exciting. No, they say, oh, I don't know. How's my job going? Well, my back hurts from that fucking chair. They haven't replaced it yet. The computer's crashed today. My boss is a jerk off. I got this dude in the other cubicle. He keeps having terrible gas because he eats nothing but cabbage and beans all day. I can't stand it anymore because the company dress code policy won't allow me to wear a respirator. That's what they talk about. In their romantic life, when they settle, and I do mean settle as in, you know, not settling up, but settling for someone that they don't really like. Oh, how's your husband? Oh, yeah, he's kind of a dick. He's kind of a Neanderthal. He spends too much time with his friends. He went bowling yesterday, didn't invite me. Forgot my birthday. Oh, how's your wife? Oh, well, she's picked up the bottle again, you know, and I keep seeing these text messages from this other dude. She swears it's just a friend, but he doesn't seem like just a friend to me. That's what happens. You're trapped in life. You're going to be miserable. I hope you realize that. Now, some people, they can get the 9-to-5 and the regular, you know, relationship and everything else going, and they're fine. And that doesn't happen. But I have a freakish prediction here. In most cases, it does happen. On some level. It might not be as draconian as all that. Your cubicle mate may not eat just cabbage and beans, by the way. But can you deal with that? You got to ask yourself that, otherwise you're trapping yourself. And you're doing it voluntarily. Don't say somebody else is forcing you. When people blame society, even when they blame socialist interventionism for their problems, it's a cop-out. There are ways to get around it. Or they blame capitalism. Well, and trust me, capitalism is not a problem. It's the antithesis of the problems that you have, but you know, a lot of people don't realize this. But I don't want to grow up. I don't want to grow old. You know, your body is going to age, but, you know, your mind doesn't really have. You might get demented. Well, you know, there are ways to avoid that in some cases, too. Be a little bit more active, eat a little healthier, try to, you know, learn new things. Don't stagnate too much. You can't really do that in your office 9 to 5, maybe. Or becoming a couch potato. A lot of people, they exhaust themselves, and then, you know, when they do have free time, what do? They just sort of sit there and watch TV. Increasingly, they sit there and watch Netflix instead. I don't know that whether it's significantly better. Using the internet would be a step up from that. At least that's interactive. And get your mind, get your neurons firing. Make some content. Don't just absorb it passively like a couch potato. Like a lot of people, they'll watch this. They don't make videos. Try it. Just make a couple. See what happens. You know, maybe one person views it. Maybe 1,000 people view it. You never know. Just try it. On that token, definitely take my advice. But, yeah, being mature is okay. Having focus is okay. Doing things that are constructive and productive, that's great. That's how you survive in life. But you don't have to always have a boss. You don't always have to have a piece of paper. Government wants you to, but you don't really. You don't always have to follow convention. You can think for yourself once in a while. You don't have to do it all the time. Sometimes you can fall in line a little bit, but most of the time you should at least think about thinking for yourself. That's a first step. That's about all. Peace out.